I have a question for you. It's also a question for our audience, but a question for you. Have you ever posted work and then regretted it because of the response?
No, because I don't even dare to post work because I'm scared of the response.
Oh my God, okay. Well, that's actually a really good start to this whole topic for today. Um I mean, I guess I'm the one that posts from our account.
Yeah, and
But
I
do you
just
ever
ignore it.
Okay, so when so when I post things and we get bad responses, which happens quite a
Yeah.
lot, um, does that bother you?
I'm a bit more detached from it because it's our company. Or like for what, can you name an example?
Well, like recently, I had made a post about saying that I mean, I feel like it doesn't bother you so much when it's opinion posts. But
No.
do you remember when I posted the thing about our pricing evolution and then we got a
Oof.
lot of like feedback on our
Yeah, no,
designs
that
and
was
stuff?
not great for me. I in general have a very I'm very anxious about being perceived. So that's also why I hardly ever post. It's not a good thing. I'm not trying to defend myself here. I actually feel like what you're doing is a good thing. But whenever you post, or like whenever one posts, not you specifically, you open yourself, you make yourself vulnerable. And I don't like being vulnerable so much because here I don't mind it so much. It's contained. But on the internet, on social media, anyone can see it and anyone can answer. And there are some really mean people out there. And it's like, I know I shouldn't take it seriously. And I feel like now I'm at a point where I laugh more about it. And I feel like I'm stronger with my opinions and where I stand. But before that, I was more of a pushover. So whenever like someone commented something negative of what I was thinking, I was like rethinking my whole values. Yeah, so that was a pretty long answer to a really short question.
Well, it's actually you actually answered the second question, which is have you ever held back from posting because you anticipated
Yeah.
a negative response?
Big yes.
Okay. So I think this is an experience a lot of designers have, or people in the creative industry. And I think it has a lot to do with it has a lot to do with reality, honestly, because our industry, and I made a post about this on Threads, which also got negative feedback. A lot of positive feedback too, though, I have to say, more positive than negative. And that's the case actually with all of I think every single post where we had backlash, there was overwhelmingly positive feedback, and then there was also negative feedback.
Yeah.
Something to remember, because I feel like the negative feedback is always louder and you focus on it.
Yeah, because that's what you're fearing more. I don't know. I feel like it
Well, it
leaves you,
affects you
it
more.
affects you more. Yeah, I feel
Yeah, it's normal. Like people don't like to be criticized. You don't like to be judged. And I made a point about our community, or I think I spoke to designers specifically, saying that designers on, I think I said on here, like on Threads, are judgmental as fuck. And a lot of designers agreed with me because it's true.
mm-hmm.
Sorry. But there were some people that disagreed with me, or their whole point was that it's not judgment, it's opinion, and that if you post on a public forum, you're opening yourself up to that, and like basically defending judging other designers. But I think it's important to differentiate between things like judgment, criticism, and criticism being constructive versus non-constructive, and then just opinions.
Yeah, also I feel like a big differentiator of that is what your intentions are. And
Yeah.
you can really see some people's intentions when they give feedback. Like there was an example, and I think that was like the whole catalyst or like the whole reason you posted that other post was that someone posted like a branding work,
Yeah.
had some screens, like it was a logo, then was a logo. I don't
Like
know, it was like a mood board.
mock-ups, mood board,
Yeah,
colors.
that was cute. Like I
It
also
was
saw it.
cute.
Yeah,
It was cute and it was well put together. And no notes. Like when I saw that, my first reaction was like, wow, that's pretty. I like the colors. And I went into the comments because I wanted to see what other people were saying, and everyone was so mean.
Can you
Like,
like say what did they say exactly?
so the logo was the name of the brand and then a symbol. And the symbol was like, looked kind of like an asterisk. And apparently, I don't know, I wasn't aware of this, I haven't seen it that much, but apparently this asterisk is being used a lot.
Yeah,
So that was
Claude, for example, uses it. I mean, that's like Walmart isn't.
yeah, Walmart, but Walmart's more like a flower. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so they were saying this asterisk is being used everywhere and like why is everyone making butthole logos, which I just felt like was really rude. And then other people were saying it looks like AI made this, and which I didn't feel like it looked like AI.
Also, they're just putting that everywhere. Like, oh, I made this. I made this. Like, come
Anytime
on.
something's in a mock-up or is like
Yeah,
presented well, people suddenly say it's AI. It's kind of like how a lot of people these days are being accused of using AI for their writing, like in schools. But
yeah,
we all know those like those AI checkers are not even good. They can't even really detect it properly. So there's like a lot happening right
yeah.
now where people are being accused of using AI, but it's not true. And it's like obviously it's a difficult time when it comes to that. But I just think it's like you could ask. You could be like, did you use AI for this? Like, why do you just assume that and then like say it and we all know they meant it negatively because no one's saying like it looks like AI did this and they mean it positively. Like, I don't think so. Um, and I commented usually I don't comment on these posts because I'll usually just like it.
I do comment on those. I like leaving positive
I'll
comments.
leave positive comments if it, like, doesn't have any engagement.
Yeah,
I'll put something positive, but if there's already, like, overwhelmingly positive comments,
yeah,
I'll
of
probably just
course.
like
No,
it.
no, it makes sense. Yeah.
Um, but it was all negative, so I was like, "Okay, I need to comment something because this poor person is going to feel terrible about themselves and their work." So I commented, "I think this looks really great. I love the colors. Like, I would like to see more of the colors." And that was it. Um, yeah, and then that inspired me to make that post because I feel like why are we as a community tearing down other designers for posting their portfolio work?
I don't know. I mean, I sometimes scroll past logos where I'm like, I don't like it. It doesn't look good at all in the sense
Yeah.
of technically good. And it's like, I don't know what purpose this fulfills, but I would never in a million years make a comment about it. I scroll past it. It's not, but also it's not for me. I'm probably not the target demographic or target group of this logo.
Yeah, I have like maybe a hot take. I think a lot of designers would disagree with me, but I think that every single logo, even bad logos, even ugly logos, has a client who's gonna buy it
Yeah,
and has a purpose and can fulfill like a brief.
sure.
I
Yeah.
don't think everything needs to be beautiful. I don't think everything needs to look like it could have won an award. I don't think everything needs to be aesthetic. And I think it's so subjective. And I think if the client likes it and it works and it performs well with their clients, then who cares if I think it's ugly?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's my point. It's like, why do so many people have the audacity to sit there and think, ugh, I'm way better than this. The kerning off. This looks like AI. This looks shit. I don't know. It's not even constructive. I mean, of course, you open yourself up for comments when you post. Some people even ask for thoughts, and I feel like then it's even more legit to add your thoughts when they're asking for it. But in any case, it should be constructive. I mean, what's your intention here? If your intention is to help the person, which it should be when you give feedback, even if it's negative feedback, I feel like the intention should be to help someone else. And then you need to ask yourself, will this feedback help them, or can I just scroll past this? Because any other feedback is just like judgment or like borderline bullying.
It's bullying, yeah. And a lot of people also commented on the post, which I didn't understand at all, that they're not adding any value. It's not valuable to show your work in a bunch of mock-ups. And like it doesn't show the actual product and like the real work. Where I feel like it's just a threads post. It's not that deep.
It wasn't like a
It's
case
not a
study.
case study. You can't even put a case study on threads. Like I wouldn't recommend it. No one's gonna be reading that. They didn't post a link to their website with a case study. Like, why are you critiquing this threads post as if it's someone's case study or portfolio? And like everyone puts their stuff in mock-ups. that's just how like, that's been going on forever, it's nothing new, like, I don't know, I just thought that the whole criticism was super weird. But I wanna come back to one thing that you said, which is that when you post online, you're kind of opening yourself up to criticism. But I wanna ask you, where do you think the idea came from that people feel so comfortable to just voice their opinion just because you put it on a public forum? I agree to a certain extent that, like, if you put your work out there, you're opening yourself up to that. But why do people feel so comfortable doing that, like, in a negative way?
I feel like the anonymity of it all. I mean, some people genuinely post from their like business
Yeah, they
accounts.
post from their business accounts.
I don't know,
Like,
that's crazy to me. I cannot really explain it. I cannot even answer that question because I wouldn't do that. And I cannot really put myself in the position of someone who would. Um, Assumptions that I can make is they feel like some kind of like that they are so much better and they need to show it, or they are like fearing that they might not be better and then need to tear the other person down. I feel like there's like a lot of psychological things at play that come together here. Like there must be some kind of intention to make yourself feel better. And how do some people make themselves feel better is to tear others down. I,
yeah.
and I think that it's just like it's more fleeting, it's easier. It's not like you're face to face with someone. I cannot imagine that they would go to everyone face to face and do that shit. Are we swearing in this podcast?
I said as fuck earlier, so
Okay,
yeah.
great. I don't it just takes this layer of personality, no, not personality, but how do you say it? Like this it takes this layer away where you're like person to person talking
Yeah,
to
face to
someone, face
face,
to face
yeah.
layer
They
away.
never would say those kind of things
That's what I
face to
mean, but
face, yeah.
that's what I mean, but it's so easy on Threads, it's so easy on TikTok, it's so easy everywhere else to just like add your comment.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But I feel like it's also just wait, before we get into, I wanted to say like it's also just like a sickness of our industry. But before we go into that, I just wanted to mention another thing about opening yourself up to criticism, because one of the comments I got on my post saying that people are judgmental is that people will interpret negative feedback as judgment always because they don't want to hear it.
Okay.
But they don't know, like, fair, that comment was fair, and they also don't know which post I was referring to, so it's fair for them to say that, and I agree to that to some extent. But on the post that I was actually talking about, there wasn't constructive criticism, and a lot of the things they were saying, you could have worded it in a way that is constructive. For example, the thing about the mock-ups, not adding value or whatever, they could have easily said, "It would have been nice," or, "It would be nice if you could share the context more." Like, what were the outcomes? Like, do you have examples of this branding on the actual product instead of just on a mock-up? You
Hmm.
could just ask. I think a lot of the times, like, statements and, like, feedback can be given in a way in the form of a question, and it makes it so much less negative. It makes it so much less, like, rude by just being you're just open to more discussion instead of just making this blanket statement like, "This is the truth." Another person on the receiving end of that thinks like, "Oh my god, it does look like a butthole, and now my branding is terrible."
But I think again, that's all coming back to the intention of it all. I don't think that they were well intended.
Yeah.
If you comment like that, you don't. Your intention is not to help. Your intention is to, I don't know, to feed your ego, to tear the other person down, to make yourself feel better. I don't know whatever the intention is, but it's not to help them because otherwise you would word it differently, like you mentioned. Like for example, there was a post of someone again saying like designers are cooked, and they were like again showing a tool that I don't know designs things for you, like I don't know, like a lot of other tools that do that at the moment. And instead of like instead of just saying oh my god like shut the fuck up, because that's genuinely how I feel at this moment about those posts, I was just like trying to challenge it and asking, okay, how is this different to the templates that are already out there where designers cook? Then like I don't know, like I feel like that leaves way more openness. Of course my intention was that I wanted to challenge this person because I don't agree with the opinion, and I think that's again a different if someone puts out designers are cooked, I feel like it invites discussion. If I put out, here is my the branding that I did, where am I inviting discussion here?
Yeah,
Where
so right.
I don't want to invite challenges. I mean, maybe I want to invite feedback because that comes in naturally. Not everyone's going to clap at my work, and that's also normal. I cannot like satisfy everyone's taste, and that's okay. um, but I don't think that it should invite people going crazy over it, like in a negative way. Like that's
No.
unhinged to me.
I think as a community, we should agree not to comment, especially not to comment negative things if the person didn't invite that feedback. Because there are posts, a lot of them, where people will post their work either in progress or they're finishing it and they just want like final feedback and they ask for thoughts. And you get a lot of constructive feedback that way.
Yeah.
Like on those posts, there's almost never something really negative. People are trying to be helpful. They're trying to give you constructive feedback. They give you positives. They give you negatives. And that is the type of environment and community we should be building, and not like someone posts portfolio work and you tear it down.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm going too deep here into the to the psychology of it all, but I feel like the designers are like very like design is very competition based, meaning since the start of it all, like since we are like university, we were always like we're played against each other.
That's true. Yeah.
Like there were always challenges. There was always like, I don't know, you need to make the presentation, you need to be better than the other person. Like there was always like this competition aspect of it all. And the judgment was always there. Like, no, not judgment actually. What I meant was that feedback processes were always there, and our whole industry is a big part of our industry is feedback from clients, feedback from peers, feedback from our mentors, feedback from art directors. Like there's always going to be feedback. We are like, that's kind of like the thing in our industry. I'm not sure if there's any other industry that has so many feedback loops and so much feedback going on from so many sides. However, I think that um, and the competition aspect of it all kind of also invites people who are already frustrated with the whole industry and already frustrated with all the competition and everything that's going on to, I don't know, slip into the negative sides of it and be like, okay, I don't know, I'm going to tear everyone else down because I don't feel great about this. And I don't know, I'm not saying I understand them. What I'm saying is I understand the frustration of always being like pinned against each other. And maybe you start to internalize it and put it out there then even more. Like, I don't know how to describe this better. I hope my thoughts came out clearly.
No, I think it's a really good point, and I think it did come over clearly. Maybe we should make talk about the distinction between, because I feel like these words are used synonymously
Hmm.
often. So like
True.
feedback, opinion,
Mm,
judgment.
true.
Judgment is the only one of those two things that will have like usually a negative connotation to it. But like what is the difference between feedback, opinion, and judgment?
Well, according to my notes,
Oh my God,
no.
bringing out the dictionary.
No, okay.
Well, you can
No, no, no.
say what it is and we can talk about it.
No, I think I can tell it from
Put it into your own
I can
words.
put it into my own words.
Uh-huh.
Well, I would say like feedback is something that is either requested or part of a process, like client process, like feedback loops. That's kind of like normal. School feedback is expected
Yeah.
because you want to grow. I feel like in any aspects where you're growing and you are expected to get feedback or request it, I feel like that's like feedback and it should be constructive. That's what feedback is there to help you grow
Yeah.
or to help the project get better. Like it should always have the intention of something getting better. That's my opinion. Getting into opinions, I feel like an opinion is like different from it and it doesn't need to be negative. An opinion can be positive or negative and it can be a response to something you see. Another opinion, a statement, it's more like a response than it is like constructive. It comes probably from an emotional side.
Yeah.
and not really from a constructive side. Like a
Yeah,
lot
like
of
when you say, "I don't like this."
exactly, it's an emotion, it's an
Yeah.
opinion. If I see the maybe if I look at the branding and I don't like it, it's an opinion. I maybe cannot put it in words why I don't like it, but it doesn't speak to me.
Yeah, and
Okay,
that's valid, but it's not something you necessarily need to share.
that's where judgment comes in place.
Okay.
um, Judgment is like when it's also emotional, and in my opinion,
Oh,
oh, it's also emotional, but very negatively charged because that emotion I feel like is geared towards, or like, I don't know, the goal of this emotion is to make yourself feel better. I feel like
that or make the other person feel bad about
exactly,
themselves.
but ultimately it makes you feel better because they feel bad. I feel like it's
Yeah.
so intrinsic. It's like such a like, I don't know, for example, and it's sometimes you're not even aware of it. I feel like I'm not everyone who judges is actually aware that they're doing it or why they're doing it. Like, for example, if I have like a very negative body image and I don't feel good about my body and whatever, and then I see someone with who maybe doesn't like portray the ideal body type that is standard, I maybe start feeling negative towards them and judgmental. I'm like, why are they like this? Why don't they eat better? Why don't they do sport? Like, I start being judgmental towards them. And I think that it's coming from a place of inner like emotions that maybe you cannot even place. Maybe you feel inadequate to the other. Maybe
Yeah.
you feel much better than the other. Like, why are they even in this space? I can do this way better. Like, I don't know. I just feel offended. I feel like, I don't know. These are, in my head, the differences between those three terms.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good summary. And I think that going back to like the example that made me make that comment in the first place, I think a lot of people I think a lot of people who were judging this design already had like some bias, like a negative bias that either came from like an internalized thing, like they were jealous or they felt like whatever, some way about it emotionally. And I think some people have like a negative bias towards AI. And
Mm,
because it like I still don't think it looks like it was made by AI, but maybe I'm naive. I don't know. But these people saw AI, they felt triggered by that, and then they made like a negative comment. And or maybe they've seen this like asterisk so many times and they're just so sick of it.
mm.
So then they make another negative comment about it. And again, yeah, and those are like judgments. Like you said, you're kind of like you have like some kind of a bias
Yeah, like
already.
some predisposition. Like,
Yeah.
bias is the better word. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like
that's
something that's just like there, and it's very personal to you, and it's not like anybody. It doesn't have anything to do with whoever you're judging. It could be anybody,
exactly. It's like
and
it's
you're
not about the
judging them
person.
regardless. Yeah.
Exactly, it's not about the person. It's like this thing that triggered you. I think it's so personal and so inside of you that n- no matter who it is, you would feel like judgmental about it.
Yeah. Like it could
It's
be
not
the biggest
personal.
agency ever that you actually admire doing it, and you would feel some type
It's
of
not
way about it.
personal, but I feel like very little judgment is personal. It's mostly just a projection or a reflection of how you feel inside.
Yeah, and I think that that's definitely true for one of the people that commented on
I know
our
who you're talking about.
on our post because I like that was so funny because I just coincidentally saw them come up on on our feed again,
Yeah.
commenting on somebody else's post, something really negative. And I was like, oh my God, this person only makes negative comments.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think that's honestly their motivation, like coming from, yeah, intrinsic motivation is to be negative. I don't know. I cannot, if they are only leaving negative comments, I feel like then that must be your goal. Like,
Yeah.
you come on this platform searching for posts so you can leave a negative comment. And I know that I sometimes do that on TikTok when I'm like on my period or like close to my period, when I see like some anti-feminist posts or comments, I start getting, I don't know, a keyboard warrior. I'm like, I don't know, I'm like challenging them, or like challenging is maybe putting it very nicely, but I feel like not my best side comes out of there. However, I, I would say the difference is to put myself in a better light here, or trying to at least, to not come off as a bully, is that I always just like, I only comment on things that are completely unhinged opinions, like
Yeah, things that are already harmful.
exactly. I would never like comment on something innocent, like, oh, I'm having nice breakfast with my husband. I would never go like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
Dare you,
how
not
dare
everyone has time or the
exactly.
resources for
I
that.
wouldn't know. That would never come to my mind. So I guess that's where the difference is. But
Yeah.
I can understand the goal of it all. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So maybe let's go into this is also a good question. And it comes back to something that I had actually like replied to someone on our post about is context.
Yeah, that's a
So
good
like
one.
what's actually missing when someone critiques work, they know nothing about the context of. So they see this portfolio work, they don't know it's done by AI, but they're assuming that. They don't ask any questions and then they just make a comment. And they're missing a lot of context to be able to back up that comment. But they make the comment in a way that it's like stated as if it's a fact.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like, oh, in my opinion, this looks like AI, and it's not like I don't like this. It's more like I'm sick of seeing all this AI work, or like this looks like a butthole. I feel like it's also a statement like it's fact, but it's your opinion, but you're saying it like it's fact,
Yeah, I think
So
that's like the really bad part of it all. Like you can state an opinion, I suppose. Like that's what it's there for. It's like a public forum.
there's also a nice and funny way to say that because
Yeah.
it could look like a butthole. Lol, oh my God, I thought it looked like a butthole to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, then it's funny and it's like, haha, yeah, true. But it's like not so negative or like harmful. But what are people missing when they make those comments? And like, that's what pisses me off about these
Yeah.
comments.
I don't know.
Is that,
I feel like you really want to answer that
is
one.
that what are they missed? Like, what is the problem when they're missing context?
Okay. I wanna
You do have your answer and I'll give mine.
okay. Well, they're missing so much. It actually pisses me off so much as well, especially when someone comes like, "Oh, I could have done it better," or like they just show. I mean, we have this like with bigger corporations. I feel like that's a really good example of this. Let's take Walmart redesign, right? Of course, what they show is again like a show reel of the work. Like here's some mock-ups. This is what the branding looks like, and then people go and start being offended by it, start being like, oh, what the fuck is this? I don't like it. Like, that's what people pay for. Like, I could do this for cheaper. I can do this better. And then you even have like people recreating the logo in their, I don't know, in their version of it all. Like, that's like then the more unhinged version of the, I don't know, of this people who do that. And however, what they're missing is the briefing, they're missing the constraints, they're missing the shareholder conversations,
The process.
the stakeholder conversations, not shareholder conversations. Sorry, the process. They're missing so much because I'm pretty sure if the agency was just like create this logo in a week with a brand book and we will just buy it, I'm pretty sure that the output or like the result would have been different. But that's not how it works in design. It's always a process of ping ponging, like back and forth with the client. Like they give you a really big brief. Usually it's like, I don't know, a few word pages. Then you read through them. Then you have alignment meetings. Then you start, I don't know, you start the process. Then in every milestone, and I'm not saying finished logo and brand, I'm saying with milestone, okay, here's like the mood, here's the first draft. Like there's always points to where someone shares an opinion or like feedback, actually, not opinion. Wow, look at me. Shares feedback, and then it starts derailing, and then there are like 10 people sharing feedback. It's not like one person sits there sharing feedback, usually.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's like a smaller company, then yes, but usually you have more than one person sharing feedback, and all of that context is missing. Like, of course, the result would look different if you just sit in your chamber and design this logo and the branding and hand it off.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality of design work.
No, and I mean, you said most of the stuff that I wanted to say anyway, but the Walmart example is such a good example of that because, like you said, what we saw, like what they released to the press and what we see are is a very small, like, snippet of the work that they've done. Like, you just see it packaged nicely. Like this guy who shared his portfolio on mockups. Do you think those things that Walmart shared were any different? No, those were also mockups. Like, those weren't actual that was a rendering of the design of a store that they shared. It wasn't an actual store.
It's also a normal practice, also in different industries.
Yeah, it's normal to show renderings, like, it's entirely normal. And people saw that and think they sold this rendering, this mock-up, this logo, these colors that were used for, I don't know, what was it? 1,000,000, 2,000,000?
Yeah, a lot probably.
I think it was about 1,000,000, I'm not sure, like 1.2 million or something. Whatever. They saw this number and they see like this output and that doesn't compute for them like that would be worth that much. And it isn't worth that much if you just judge the output. But like you said, everything that went into it, like the process, the meetings, the feedback, strategy, that was all probably I'm guessing like a year's worth of work. And
Yeah.
then people come online and they see this and they make judgments. They have opinions, they give feedback, which is so unnecessary. This thing has already been produced.
Yeah,
It's
and
already done.
there have been probably, I don't know how many people in that feedback loop, like, I don't know, like working for bigger corporations, we know that there are like, I don't know how many stakeholders on one project. It's like, it's crazy how many people have opinions
Yeah,
or give like feedback. And sometimes it's opinions because it's not constructive.
yeah. And the thing is that, like, they're missing all this context, but they make statements as if they have context, like redesigning the logo and being like, this is what I would have done and this is so much better. Like, you can't know
Mm.
that because you don't have the context, you don't have the business context to be able to say that.
Also, the constraints, like what was the target demographic or group? What was any of the requirements are missing. Like
Yeah, maybe someone at the very top wanted the logo to look exactly like this and they didn't have another choice,
yeah, like
you know?
there's so many decisions that you as a designer are not making.
Yeah.
Like maybe when you like really design for your, I don't know, neighborhood bakery, maybe you have like more oh, not audacity, but authority.
Yeah.
You have more authority over the final output. And that's not the reality when you start designing for companies that are bigger. And that's where also the bigger budgets are, because they value the process, because the process is actually probably the part that takes the longest, not creating the logo. Like that was probably, I'm assuming, the smaller percentage of the work. The rest is like aligning like I don't even know, like aligning opinions, aligning feedback. Imagine if like 10 cooks like tried, I don't know, if you're like cooking and 10 people try to tell you what's better and how you should make it. And of course, the dish is going to turn out different as if you would cook it alone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think that's the most easy example that I can think of right now. Yeah, of course, my
Yeah.
curry is different than the curry I would maybe cook with you. It's just how it is. Is it better or worse? Yeah, the target group can make the judgment of that.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting about, like, talking about context is people tend to center themselves in these discussions and in their opinions.
I love that we're
Um,
like really using it intentfully, like the words intentfully now.
because one of the people in my comments, and it wasn't the guy, like, being negative, although he also disagreed with that, I think. But one of the people in my comments, I think they piggybacked off one of his comments saying that the end user of a branding doesn't have the business context either, and they also have opinions and judgments about the branding. So why are we as like designers or people on threads not allowed to have those opinions? And I think the main difference here is that yes, these users don't have the context, but they also don't they're also not designers. They're viewing this as like an end user, which means they're viewing it in combination with communication. How did the brand communicate with me? Where was my first touch point with this brand? Was it even visual? Because a lot of the times it isn't.
Hmm.
You know, like a lot of the times it's actually something like you hold in your hand if it's a product. Yeah, that's also visual, but it's not the branding. So, we are seeing the branding isolated and seeing that as our first touch point. And we are looking at it from the eyes of a designer. And then we are centering our opinion around the fact that we are a designer and we know everything that has to do with design. And we have opinions on good, bad design. But an end user doesn't have any of that.
I mean, that's also actually a different context to put
Yeah,
it in. Like,
exactly.
actually, there's like multiple contexts.
So there's the client
Says-
context
yeah.
of like creating this, and then there's the end user context, and those two have very little to do with a designer critiquing another designer.
With the designer context.
Yeah, the designer context is probably the most irrelevant one. Like, honestly, and I hate that designers think they are so important in the process, and that they're like, yes, they're important in the process, but their opinion and their aesthetic and their like vision is has very little to do with the success of a product. And designers centering themselves in that way are not good designers.
No, I get what you mean. Yeah. I wanted to push back at first. I was like, I get what you mean now with the centering yourself.
Yeah.
I'm the designer. I
know better.
More like my aesthetic.
My aesthetic goes.
I
like
get
those
what you mean.
designers don't produce work for their clients. They produce work for themselves.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Shit, I had such a I don't know, I wanted to say something while you were talking, but I didn't want to interrupt you, and now I forgot.
Sorry.
It's fine. I just didn't want to interrupt you.
And okay, to come back to the feedback, constructive criticism and opinions that we see online, is designer versus designer. Like, I'm not seeing end users be like, I'm sorry, but no end user is being like, the Walmart redesign was so expensive. Oh my God, it looks ugly. It looks like an anus. I'm not going to buy from them.
Yeah, wait,
Like,
actually.
the people actually going to Walmart probably didn't even notice that it changed.
Okay, yes. But here I'm pushing back. It's because, for example, Jaguar is
an extreme case.
Exactly. There's some edge cases to that. I get your general idea.
Yeah.
I agree. But there are edge cases to that. Like Jaguar, also we had like we had like a redesign of the logo in Vienna. And the main thing is not the design part, what you mentioned as well. The main thing is the budgets. Like, because again, they're not connecting the process with the output. They just see the output and see the number next to it, and they're like, what the fuck? Especially it's also political because it's it's Vienna, it's the city of Vienna. So of course it's different because they feel like the tax money goes in there. But as soon as they have like a personal relationship with that brand, like people had with Jaguar, when they like rebranded and suddenly spoke to a completely different target group, I believe. Like the zeitgeist of that wasn't right.
But that, when you look at that in the context of the end user, it makes sense that the end user had a visceral reaction to that because they weren't speaking to them suddenly.
Yeah,
they had
totally
been speaking to them the entire time, and suddenly they were speaking to somebody completely different. So then it's obvious that the end user would have a negative reaction.
But it's something, if it's like not touching you like Walmart.
And the Vienna example, I feel like, is very niche, and it has a lot to do with Austrian culture.
That's true. Yeah.
I feel like any other city, had they done that, everyone would have not even noticed. Like, gone along with
so much pushback on that, but because of the pricing, it was like, because again, people don't understand that these things cost as much because they also don't have the context of where it will be. It's on every pamphlet. It's on every, I don't know, whatever. I mean, we're all, I think every one of our listeners knows what the context of a logo is and what it takes to create a branding.
Like, obviously there are exceptions to these things, but something like Walmart, if you think about the end user, and I'm talking about the people who go to Walmart to buy stuff.
Yeah.
They're not even they're not even viewing Walmart online, probably. It's an in-store brand. It's a retail brand. So and people probably buy online from Walmart. I'm sure they do that. But a lot of people just go to Walmart and they do their shopping. And the logo has a slightly different color and is a little more rounded, and they have different campaign imagery, maybe.
Yeah.
Do they notice that? No. Does it change their experience? No.
I think many know, but for example, I was thinking of if there are like any other examples that I remember where the rebranding was like causing like a big, I don't know, like a big outrage. And yeah, I just remember the Google logo when they changed it. People were like going crazy because they changed the serif font to the sans serif.
Yeah. Does anyone still care?
No one cares anymore. That's
I know.
totally valid. Yes. I'm just saying that there's there seems to be, whenever like a big brand changes or
Yeah.
like a big logo changes, even if it's just like a small change, people go crazy. Even people who are not designers, because I feel like, I don't know what happens in the brain chemistry, is like I feel like your first gut reaction is to reject it.
But I
Obviously.
still
Also,
think,
Instagram logo, remember? Like people
yeah,
were
but
going
I
crazy.
still think that it's the chronically online people. And I don't
So yeah,
think I
yeah.
don't think the chronically online people represent the majority
Yeah,
either.
no,
I don't think my parents even noticed the logo changed.
my parents neither.
Exactly. And we are like part of a generation that is chronically online and everyone has an opinion on everything and feels the need to share it at all times. And of course, they're gonna have those opinions.
Yeah, or like also Facebook. Well, like a lot of things come to mind where people went crazy because of the changes. Now no one remembers. Now if they would change the logo again, people would go crazy again.
Couldn't even tell you what the logo looked like before.
It was like I think it was like a serif font before.
The Google one?
The Google one, yeah, like very long, like longer ago.
The Google one I remember, but Facebook I don't remember.
Me neither.
Yeah. So anyway,
It's also not important in the grand scheme of things. Like
it
it really
isn't.
doesn't, and it's like such a, it's an interesting. It's interesting that it causes so much outrage, but I feel like I don't know what happens, but I don't know why there's this strong feeling of rejection whenever something that you know changes. And I think it's like something to do with that it changed. It wasn't even if it's good or bad, it changed, so it's bad because we often react negatively to change.
Yeah, I think that's true too. We're just a creature of habit
Yeah,
and like things
exactly.
staying the same.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that also comes. Wow, it's a very
Human
psychological.
psychology.
Yeah.
Coming back to the like judgment, like let's take big redesigns out of the equation and come back to like designer to on designer or peer to peer or also like client to designer judgment. Why do you feel like everyone thinks they can have an opinion on design?
Um, I think that that answer has like different perspectives. One thing is that the output of our work is aesthetic. Whether we want it or not, it's like something visual and it's aesthetic, and you can respond to certain types of aesthetics in a different way. You have an opinion about it, whether you want it or not. I see this lamp, it's cute. Oh no, I hate it. I would never buy it. Like I don't know, it makes you feel something.
Yeah.
It's and I feel like that makes you feel like you can judge it because you feel something. It makes you feel
Yeah.
something, whether it was intentional or not. You
Yeah, I
feel
think a
something
lot of
about
the
it.
times it's like an automatic reaction.
Exactly.
You did mention, I think we talked about this already before, but like I want to go into like when you have that kind of reaction.
You mean like negatively towards
Yeah.
something, or like,
Yeah, like when you see work you think is ugly.
all right,
What goes through your head?
doesn't. I just feel like I don't like this, but I don't feel offended by it. It's just like I don't like it, and I scroll past it. It doesn't. It doesn't affect me.
Yeah,
It's like seeing, yeah, like a piece of furniture. Like I would never put this into my house, but doesn't mean I need to now hate it and start a smear campaign against it.
I think it's also different if you're like with your friends
That's true.
and you're like, "Oh my God,
This is
I saw
ugly.
that." Or like you're in a restaurant and you're like, "Oh my God, this menu is so ugly." And like you're talking to your friends and you're like, "Oh, it's ugly."
Yeah,
Like
but it's contained
it's
again.
contained and also it's not directed at the people who did it.
I
And
feel
I
like
think
it's
that's
kind
the
of
big
like talking
difference.
behind
I think
someone's
it's
back.
okay for designers to be judgmental and it's like comes with the territory
And I
because
also
we're
think it's,
constantly having to do that.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, like decide what's the better option and visually like make
Mm,
critical like decisions about.
I also don't think it's bad in the
Yeah,
sense of, because sometimes it helps you to grow. Like you see, I don't like this. I see something, I like this. Why do I like it? And you like take parts of it and you can make it your own and
true.
stuff like that. I don't
Yeah,
think it's inherently bad. I just think that it's bad if you use your judgment and try to hurt someone else intentionally.
yeah.
Sure, you could maybe argue that talking behind someone's back about it is also hurtful, but it's still not directed towards them. And I think it's a natural thing to talk about things with your friends, with your peers, and to have an opinion, and you talk about the opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a big difference. I think that, yeah, for me, it's really just like just seeing it online. The fact that people feel the need to comment that, the fact that people feel like they're being helpful, because a lot of the times, if you push back on that kind of comment, people will defend their initial comment instead of just being like, "You're right, I was being rude," you know? Like, they'll defend that then after even calling them out on it, and I think that if people were more they should just be more internal about that kind of opinion. Like, from
Honest about it.
like,
Like
what do
if
you
you're
mean?
if you show up authentically, and that's and you're honest about it. You're honest about being judgmental because you
Okay,
are being
yeah, sure,
judgmental. I'm
yeah.
like, okay, fair. You're right.
Yeah, being like, "Oh, I'm not judging, I'm just giving criticism."
That's like
Like,
you're
it's
lying to yourself.
yeah, and you're lying to you're gaslighting everybody as well,
Yeah,
'cause you're like,
exactly.
whatever, and then I just think that because if you were to internalize that more and not, like, feel like you need to express how you feel, then you could just scroll past it.
That's what I mean. Like I scroll past it. I'm not saying, oh, I'm this amazing person. I scrolled past it. I'm just saying that it doesn't affect me. I don't like it, but I don't feel the need to now start bullying that person because I don't like it. Maybe someone else does, and that's fine. That again, I feel like design. We say this a lot, that this we don't view design as art. Design is a service, and it's like done to, I don't know, for example, someone comes with a briefing, can you make me a logo that should speak to exactly this target group? And then you create that. And I am probably not part of the target group, so I don't like that logo. It doesn't
Yeah.
speak to me, but that doesn't mean it's a bad logo. That doesn't mean it's inherently ugly. Maybe you can look at it and see like, oh, the techniques are kind of wrong, or like what's going on here, the system is wrong. Like, of course you can see those things. And I don't know, I would probably still not start adding unsolicited like comments
No,
there.
that brings me back to my original statement, which is that I think that even bad design, and I am including technically bad design,
Yeah,
I think even that design can be successful in the right context.
it
We
can be, yeah.
see it all the time. I'm sorry, but almost every restaurant I go to has terrible design and technically terrible design.
Yeah.
Like, you can
You mean like the
tell
menus
the
and
menu, the signage, like they've printed their colors in 5 different ways across 5 different printout materials. It's bad design, but do I care? No, I wanna have a good meal. It doesn't stop me from having a good meal, it doesn't stop them from providing the service that I need from them. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
And I think that designers centered our work too much, like, it's so important. I used to do it. I remember when we were in design school, I used to
No, oh
think,
my God, every menu
"I
I
need to re
dissected.
yeah,
I was
I
like,
need to
ooh.
redesign every single restaurant. I need to tell them their logo is shit." Like, I mean, I never did, but I kept thinking like, maybe I should tell them this, like, maybe I'll, like, redesign their stuff." They didn't want that, they don't need
I love
that.
the I was the same, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
love the audacity we had back then. Like, oh, it's so much better than this. And we had zero, again, we had zero
0
context and
experience as well.
zero awareness. But I feel like the less experience you have, the
Yeah,
more you start doing these things, because
true.
now I know I'm like, oof, I'm not judging any redesign anymore for any big corporate, any new website anymore, because I know what's going on in the background, and I know it can be messy and it can be a lot. And any project, it's like heavy projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't even want to get into it anymore. I agree with you on the that restaurants can work, especially in the context where you like go there and like, I want this type of food, and I know this restaurant makes that food, and I don't really care about the ambience. I don't really care about much else than the food. I think where it does get problematic, but again, they're speaking to a different target group, is that, for example, if they're a high-end restaurant and then have like weird things going on with different
Of
papers and
course. Like, if
colors.
it's
Yeah,
fancy, if it's
exactly.
expensive, if the reason I'm going is to have, like, a fancy night out, then I do expect everything to feel
But
fancy.
now we're coming back to the topic of what target group are
And
you,
what is the purpose
and
of the
what
design?
exactly.
Like, in the example of I just wanna have a good meal, you just need to be able to read it
Yeah,
Honestly, the only situation where I'd feel like this design failed is if it was not readable. And even then, I think I would still get over it because I would just ask them.
Yeah, especially when I know that someone suggested me this restaurant because the food is good.
Yeah,
I'm
or it
like,
has really good
yeah,
reviews. I don't know, like there are other things that will affect my buying choice and it won't be the
yeah.
design.
You know what I really love? Like this one, I will call it Asian because they have like I don't know, different type of Asian food there. Um, the website is only their menu, like a JPEG of their menu, and I
Yeah,
love it
that's
because
amazing.
that's usually the main thing I'm looking for.
I know. And sometimes it's really hard to find and it pisses me off. I'm like, just
Exactly.
put your menu like right on the front page.
Exactly. And I love it. I come on this website and there's only the menu. I'm
Yeah.
obsessed.
The menu and the opening
Yeah, but
times.
they're on the menu.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
they're
Yeah.
on the JPEG, so it's fine. Like
Yeah.
honestly, for me that meets all the requirements that I have, especially for restaurants
And
like
I
that.
bet some SEO web designer, whatever, would tell them they would need a redesign.
Yeah.
Why? If it fills the purpose.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the right target group for that.
Me too.
I love it.
I
I'm
think
obsessed
most
with
people
it.
are, honestly. I feel like restaurants is such a niche example that
Yeah.
people like to over design when it's not necessary.
Well, I actually have two questions.
Okay.
This time I'm
Ask
asking the
me.
questions, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so because you're more vocal online and you share more online than I do, has like okay, let's go back to the beginning when you like started posting and you started getting negative comments. How did it affect you then? I will come. I have a follow-up question on that, but first we need the baseline of what it was like before, and actually what it is like now. Like, did anything change in the way you respond to it, or the way, like, I guess the inner way you respond to it, like emotionally, or and how you actually respond to it?
I think I'm a really bad person to ask that because I'm generally not affected a lot by like feedback from like external feedback because I know I have very strong opinions about everything I do and I never do things if I don't 100% stand behind them. So if I've posted something online, I stand behind that and it's not that someone can't change my opinion. Like of course I'm very open to discussion, but I still won't be affected by if someone tells me like our website is ugly. Like I don't care what they think. I really don't care. My first reaction to things is that it pisses me off. Like I get angry, I get frustrated because I just feel like they don't have the context. I feel like doing so much emotional labor to explain to this person why their comment is stupid and doesn't make sense. And a lot of the times, like I would say my usual reaction is to say something like snarky back.
Yeah.
And usually in a way that makes them like indirectly realize that their comment is dumb. So I either use like the same wording that they use and I just switch out a few words. Like I'll just repeat their exact comment, but just switch out a few words and turn it around on them.
Mhm.
So basically make the same comment towards them. Often I don't get a response after that because they already feel like they can't say anything to that. Some people feel like really mad, like triggered, and then they get really angry. And then I feel like I've succeeded. So I
Okay.
feel like sometimes I do like to rage. I won't rage bait with our content, but I will rage bait people in the comments.
Yeah.
Like if I feel like what they're contributing isn't positive.
Mhm.
Like
Okay.
I won't do it if it's I don't want to argue with people,
Yeah.
but I feel like if they're already coming in with a negative energy, then why should I be the bigger person, you know?
I know. I think that's kind of the difference between us because
Yeah.
I'm always trying to be the bigger person. Like I'm always
Yeah.
like trying to like I don't know, just not make it escalate. And by bigger person, I don't mean like agree with them and be like, yeah, yeah, you're so right. But I mean, it's like I don't know, trying to de-escalate or like I don't know. I feel like you are dealing it with more offensively, while I'm like way more defensive, I guess, in a
Yeah.
way. And yeah, and I'm just really not good at that. Not that it affects me when people say our website is shit, but it affects me that people are so negative. I think that's what affects me
Yeah.
emotionally because it makes me frustrated. I'm like, what's your problem, dude?
I definitely have an emotional reaction to it. It's not when I say like I don't care, it's not that I don't react at all
Yeah.
to it, but it's like my response is then to is not to be like I'm not upset about it. I'm like not sad about it. I'm not questioning myself or what I posted. I'm not like in like having doubts or
Mhm.
feeling insecure, which I think a lot of people how I think most people do react that.
Yeah, that's exactly how I used to be. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess I don't know, I wouldn't say I completely changed. However, I do feel like maybe it helped me that you do these things and I can kind of like see nothing bad's happening. I don't know, like it maybe it helped me. I don't know what happened. Something happened in between that changed it where even if I do post now, even if someone would, I don't know, criticize it, I would not question my viewpoint. Back then, I would question my viewpoint and my opinion because I don't feel like my opinion was strong enough to be defended. Sounds kind of
Yeah,
sad, but it's
that yeah.
true. And I think maybe the podcast also like a lot of things helped probably to come to the point where I'm like not personally affected when someone doesn't agree with my opinion.
Yeah, I'm also not personally affected, and I think
But I get frustrated and I get
yeah,
sometimes a bit angry.
I'm also very yeah, I do get angry too, like, we write about it, like, "Oh my god,
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
this guy's pissing me off," like,
Yeah.
I'm obviously emotionally reacting to it, but it's not something that deeply affects me in a way that I don't I also forget about it pretty quickly. It's
Mm,
not something that, like, stays with me. Whereas I feel like oh, and this is why I get so mad and why this episode even, like, happened when I see other people tearing people down because I know that I'm an exception, and I know that most people, if they get negative feedback on things that are very personal to them, and I think that design is often very personal, that they were probably that probably stays with them for a long time. And
mhm.
for somebody commenting, it's like you're scrolling,
Yeah, it's
you comment, you move on. But the person receiving that comment might live with that for a really, really long time. And you're having this huge effect on somebody's mental health and potentially also their career path with just like a passing comment.
mhm.
And I think that's so sad and so harmful. And that's why I wanted to call it out. Like, we should stop being so judgmental because your comment is potentially affecting someone really badly. And I think before we comment, we should think about how much, for example, for you, as somebody who struggles with this, how much it takes for you to post at all.
Mhm.
And then you finally got up the courage to post. And then you only get negative comments.
I would never post again.
I know
I'd be like,
that
"Okay, fuck this." Because I feel like so many people are held back. We have talked to so many designers that don't post their work.
I know it's a huge thing in our industry.
Exactly, because first of all, I think I speak for most of us that we are like perfectionists. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
really a designer anymore, but then when I used to design more, I'm so that's actually my downfall. I'm too perfectionist about it. I can't let it go. I need to push it here. I need to push it there. I need to see every angle of it, and it's like frustrating. That's why I don't design or don't design a lot anymore. Sometimes I still do. Um, but I I would be I'm so scared of posting it because I see the flaws in it. I know it's not perfect. And then if someone came and pointed out those exact things in a judgmental way, I don't know. I wouldn't feel great about it. I would actually
exactly.
never post again. I would like, okay, fuck this.
And that's what I think a lot of people go through. And that's why I just think that's why I try to call it out. And also, I think it's just important for people to remember when they post a comment that for them it might be something they forget about 10 minutes later, but for other people, it might be the reason they never post again, for example.
Yeah, like I mean, it's not to do with social media, but remember when we applied to um I'm I'm going on on a little side quest here. It's about the wording part. And because you can
Oh
word
my God, yeah.
exactly, you can word
I know what you're
things
talking
okay.
about.
That you can word things differently to make it more encouraging. What you said before, like you can if you word your judgment in a way where it doesn't come off as a judgment, and maybe it's like even helpful or not even
Yeah.
that bad. It really depends on how you word it. Now, what I was as like a personal anecdote that happened to actually both of us is that we applied to a design school here in Vienna, and I'm not a good drawer. I suck. I suck at it. But of course, I still tried because I feel like I had potential. And the first thing they test at that school in the entrance exam is how you draw. So you go for like a few challenges. I think almost everyone who went to design school knows that. And yeah, well, I didn't make it past the drawing the drawing stage, and you didn't either. I think that you didn't pass that
No,
stage either. Okay. And then of course you get a letter of like acceptance, or what's the other
rejection.
rejection, thank you. And of course it was a letter of rejection. It was an email. And it was worded very badly. And I don't know what the intention was there. It it seemed just like outrageous to me. Even looking back now, I still find it
I also
outrageous.
hope they've changed it since then because
Me
that was
too.
insane.
Like, I'm kind of paraphrasing it now because I don't have the exact wording, but they basically said that you're not fit to be a designer.
Yeah,
They didn't say, okay, they weren't like, hey, it wasn't good enough
you're
this
not there
year.
yet.
You're not there yet. Please try again next year. I mean, that's like normal.
No, they said you are not
Suitable
suitable for the career
of being a
of a
designer.
design,
And
yeah.
I'm like, the audacity.
And we were so young when we applied,
I
and
almost stopped
yeah,
because of
and at
that.
that age, you do stop when an authority figure tells you you're not suitable for this career path.
I I
I
was
mean,
like,
like, what are
okay,
you
should I
supposed to
stop
do?
now?
Yeah.
I mean, thank God I didn't. But
I almost did
yeah,
too.
me too.
That
I
was
was
like
like,
almost my last straw.
me too. Like, I was crying, I remember, because I
Yeah.
went to drawing school. I was really preparing for a year. I learned how to draw. I was almost
Yeah.
full time in the drawing course, and it really hurt me. And I remember going to the court, like crying and really thinking, okay, I don't know, maybe it's really not for me. I will never make it.
Yeah.
If after a year of drawing school I still can't do it, then maybe it really isn't for me. And of course, this is an extreme example because this came for an like authority figure, I guess, in a way. But it affected me so badly. And I think that even if I back then started sharing my work and a lot of comments came in saying, this is shit, like, what are you even doing here? Like, just stop. I don't know. I think it would have affected me a similar way.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think I think at the point where we were I mean, yeah, I think at the point where we started, it was easier for you because I wasn't affected so much by that.
Yeah.
Us posting our work was easier.
Also, we did it together
And we did
and
it
it wasn't
together.
like,
Yeah, but I think, like, I don't know, I feel like even I probably would have been affected had I posted my work online, like, at the very beginning when I was starting my career, and then I got a lot of negative comments.
mhm,
That definitely would have affected me.
yeah, it's horrible. Like, it's like you
And a
put,
lot of the people online sharing their work are not like it's not like they're all
in a different stage
award-winning
also. Like,
designers.
I think there's so much context missing because a lot of people who do share their work online, maybe are in a completely different stage than you are. Like,
Yeah,
you might be in it for like, I don't know, 10 years. Of course, someone who just started produces different quality work. Like, there's so much to consider. And I know that it's like easy to leave a comment and it makes some people feel better to be judgmental. But I don't know. I just wish that the community was like a friendlier place to be and a more encouraging place to be. A lot of people are encouraging. This kind
yeah,
of sounds negative, like, oh, the whole thing, we are all negative. That's not true. But there are a few examples where we just really tear each other down, like we mentioned, like pricing, where we like say, and we made this and that much with a website, and everyone is saying, your website sucks. How can you ask for so much money? La 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 la. I will make it for 1K. Like, this is another example of it. I don't know. There's just a lot of negative energy. And I wish if we were like more supportive and more understanding of our contexts, I think that we could move a lot in this community.
yeah, I think so too. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to learn more about why we believe design is more than just aesthetics, check out episode 93, Beyond Aesthetics, How Our Design Thinking Evolved. And if you like our podcast, please consider leaving us a positive review so we can continue to grow.